is going to be Markerless Motion Capture for MetaHumans. Check it out. Straight away, no bother, no messing around. Epic Games just dropped Markerless Motion Capture for MetaHumans, and it is great. In this video, I'm going to show you how to use it. It takes 5 minutes. It's super simple. I'm also going to take you through a couple of gotchas that tripped me up and they might trip you up. And I'm going to show you how to get the animation out of 5.8 and into an earlier version if you're still using 5.7 like I am for SPACEWALKER. My name's MXBell and I work on all these things, and I'm here to teach you how to make films in Unreal Engine. Welcome to Real-Time Workflows. Right, okay, let's get on with it. So this is super cool. There's a couple of plugins that you're gonna need. MetaHuman Animator, if you just type in Animator, MetaHuman Animator, MetaHuman Animator, Markerless Motion Capture, and then the last thing you're gonna want is Live Link Hub. All right, Live Link Hub. Let's just go through the process super quickly now. So we're gonna go to Tools and Live Link Hub. And it's literally just these few clicks. You can memorize them really quickly. I certainly have. So under live data, we're going to go to Capture Manager. We're going to go add a data device, and we're going to go mono video ingest. We're going to click on this. I'm going to point it to the directory where our videos are that we've recorded. Now, I've got a little batch of videos that I was testing with. So I'm just going to copy that address and I'm going to put it in here. And then hit select folder. And then the videos that I'm using will show up in here. So I tested a few different kinds of codecs and things like that. And I'm going to get to, there is a gotcha with the codecs. So if you add a video to the queue and it fails like that, there's a reason why. And I'll get to it after this. I'm going to test this one. It's the one I want to do. So what this one is me walking over to the stool. I'm going to do some spaceman motion capture and to see how it handles that. From starting with my back to the camera, and then I've got one where I'm starting on the stool. So we'll just see how it copes with these things. So once we've got a little check mark there, that's all good. What we're going to do is come down here and we're going to close this now if you want. And then we're going to come to our Capture Manager and Import and Mono Video Ingest. And now it's going to have made us a folder for the videos we just processed. So we're going to come into here. And now we're going to right click and we're going to go to MetaHuman and MetaHuman Performance and just give this a name, MHP for MetaHuman Performance. And I'm going to go SPW for SPACEWALKER, Markerless Test 01. Okay, again, just name things sensibly if you can. And then we open this up. Now, the first time I tried to do this, I had nothing under visualization and it wouldn't work. And again, I'm going to get to that in the gotchas section. So I'm going to go to my test here. All right. I'm not worried about facial tracking. I'm just worried about body tracking. If you use facial tracking, you'll see on the test that I already did, it did record facial tracking. You can just take that on and it works. But that's all fine. And so we're going to just check those on, and then we're going to come up here and hit process. So we've hit like 5-6 buttons so far. Like it's fucking dead easy. Then we just have to let it do that. And I'm going to go make a cup of tea. So back in a minute. So one of the reasons I'm looking to test it in this way and push it to its limits is that ordinarily you'd have to do an A pose.
Yeah, we're good.
Even on Markerless Motion Capture, you still have to do an A pose. And Epic are claiming that you don't need to do an A pose. So the reason that I'm doing it this way is I want to see how it copes with an animation that starts first with my back to the camera. Because does it solve that? Does it know how to do it? Does it know what it's doing? And then even more like this here pose on top of the stool in a horizontal position. Can it solve that? And can it still make sense of the animation? And then we'll find out how good it really is. Okay, so that has now exported. And we can see here what it's done. Looks pretty good, doesn't it? We can add a MetaHuman to the visualizer. I mean, that's amazing. That's really good, right? That's really good. So that's coming from back turned to the camera. So it's a big fat yes on that. So yeah, great stuff. All right, so the next thing I have to do is just export the animation, which is built on up here. Hit that. And it's going to ask us where we want to put it. It sort of makes sense to put it in here to me. So I'm just going to do that. So it did take a long time. That processing took nearly an hour. This is an intensive process. It's quite RAM intensive as well. If you look at the things that are in this folder now, so it gave us, that's our capture data with the media source, which is the video. There's the audio file. It's made as a skeletal mesh. That's our MetaHuman Performance file. And this is the animation file that we're actually going to use and attach it to a MetaHuman. So let's just create in here a level sequence, and we'll call it LS for level sequence, and we'll make the same thing as that thing, SPW LS, SPW Markerless test 01. Okay, and we can open this up. The best way to do it with a MetaHuman is to put them in a level and then possess them, as opposed to making them spawnable down here. And then we can come to our body and go animation, and here it is, SPW Markerless test 01. I'll just zoom out here to see 651. So let's do that. So frame 651. Okay, and now we can take a look. That's I'm very impressed. It's very good. Yeah, that's really good, isn't it? So let's come back and put it through its paces with a one where I just start on the stool. But my suspicion is it's going to nail that as well. Let's get to some of the gotchas that you might encounter. So first things first, in Live Link, if you got that error, it won't process your video. That's because it's using Windows and various codecs and whatnot that are associated with Windows. It's kind of dull, but if you just go and download FFmpeg, it will work much better. So let me just talk you through downloading FFmpeg. So you can come to this website here, dev FFmpeg builds. I think I just got this release essentials.zip, and then you have a zip file. Okay, so essentials build.zip, and it's got all this stuff in it. And all I do is I drag that out to my C drive, and then I rename the folder FFmpeg. So it's now in my C drive. I now have FFmpeg with the contents of that zip drive. So just drag that out and rename it FFmpeg. And we're just renaming it because we have to kind of type it sometimes. Okay, so come back to Live Link Hub. We'll just do the same steps we did before. Mono video ingest. We'll point it at the same folder. And I'll come to my settings and go to settings. And you can see here there's use third-party encoder. You find by default this will be checked off. So check it on and then point it to the FFmpeg.exe executable file that you've got, and what you should find now is that this will process. Okay, so that's the first gotcha. And the second one I can't repeat now, which is weird because it caused me like a couple of days of sort of scratching my head. But if you come to your MetaHuman Performance, when you come to this step and you create a new MetaHuman Performance and you don't see visualization here, I'd like to hear from you because I'm trying to figure out what it was. I tried to do this on a project file that I had upgraded to 5.8, and I had nothing in the visualization dropdown, and I was scratching my head about it. Then I tried, the only 5.8 project I had was the one from the preview, and I tried it on there, and it still didn't do it. And so I made a clean 5.8 project, a brand new one using the latest build. There was still no visualization. And then I created a MetaHuman and saved it all. And then the visualization showed up. And I thought, that's what it is. Then I went back to my other ones and it was like it's working again. So I don't really know. But if you don't see anything in visualization, my advice is open up 5.8, make a brand new project, make a brand new MetaHuman, and it should work. And if not, let me know. If you counter that error, let's try and figure it out so we can get some updates. So if you're coming here for that error, check the comments and let's see if there's anything there already. And if not, let's see if we can figure out what's going on there. It's probably something they're going to fix if it remains to be a problem. Or it might be something that only affected me, but it did it on both my machines. So don't know. So before we get to putting the last file through its paces, let's just talk about how to export this and get this into a 5.7 project. This is an animation sequence. It is merely an FBX, right? So we can just go right click. This is the thing that's driving this. We don't need to worry about this skeletal mesh. Right click and go asset actions. When it wakes up, asset actions, and go to export. I'm going to put it in my SPACEWALKER project from UE, and I'm going to just hit save as an FBX. You'll get some saving options. I just use the default, hit export. Now, why wouldn't you just upgrade a 5.7 project to 5.8? The general advice when we're working on professional projects is that you don't upgrade the project when a new version of the engine comes out. You don't upgrade a live project just by default, right? You don't know what might not work anymore that you might be dependent on. So SPACEWALKER is 5.7. So I've got my import folder. I'm trying to keep everything as organized as possible in this project. Okay, so here it is, SPW Markerless. So we drop that in like any other animation, and we're going to grab our MetaHuman. I'm just going to check if we've got Tom. Yeah, so grab our MetaHuman base skeleton and hit import. And now what we can do is I've got a test sequence here. So that's the test I did earlier. What we can do is we can delete that and we can come in here and just go animation add, and there's our markerless test. And here we go. That's what I just recorded in the garden on my MetaHuman in Unreal Engine 5.7. There it is. So that's how to get it out and into 5.7. Now, the final thing before we get to its final test, see if it falls down, is one-click retargeting. If you don't need it to be on a MetaHuman, right? If you don't need this animation to be on a MetaHuman, the MetaHuman skeletons are super complicated. And if you do not need this to be on a MetaHuman and you want to get it out so that you can then convert it and apply it to one of your own skeletons, the best thing to do is to go to retarget. And you should have a Mixamo character in here. Now, I've always got a Mixamo character in here. Where's he gone? There's Adam, right? So you can then just retarget this with a single click and make it be for a Mixamo skeleton, which is a much simpler skeleton and easier to get onto other skeletons. You're not overloaded with all the MetaHuman stuff. So here he is, and we can just go, there we go. So now that's going to go onto a Mixamo character, and we can just export that out. And then you can do the same thing, export it as an FBX by right-clicking on the file and get it into wherever you need to get it to. All right, let's launch LiveLink now, and let's see about my extra hard mocap file that I want to test it with. Okay, so Capture Manager, add mono video ingest, click on that, go to my folder, select that, and go to Markerless Test, SPACEWALKER Markerless Test 02, start that. Okay, just redoing the process once more, just to make sure we've drilled it in and test this one. So that is then processed and close LiveLink. You come to Capture Manager, import, and Markerless Test 02. And once again, go MetaHuman Performance. All right, and then we grab Markerless Test 02, turn off facial tracking. We don't need that. Turn on body tracking and hit process. And then wait for it to finish. So let's see how we get on. Right, it is finished processing. It took hours, a lot longer than the other one, but it has done it. It's done it from a standing start, not on a pose. It's done a good job, I think. I mean, that's really good, right? Let's get it in. Let's get it exported. Export. So this part of the process is much faster. But yeah, that took legitimately 2 to 3 hours probably, and it's not that much longer a sequence than the last one. It's taking twice as long, and I can only think it's because it's more difficult. Nearly the entire time is spent without feet planted. So it probably takes just much more processing to do that. But I'm impressed that it's done. I'm impressed that it solved it. Here it is. I'm just going to lift him up a touch so we can see the hands. So you can see it's kind of like when it can't see the feet, it's kind of assuming that the feet are planted. See how so it's interesting. Yeah, it's interesting actually. Is it better than the other one? So in the other one, I don't think it's quite perfect. Certainly not as good as the mocap that we did the other day. But only in the feet, and it's because it's trying to solve the feet as if they're planted on something. So they always look like it always looks like if you rotated this around so it stood up, it would make sort of some sense. Yeah, it's impressive. So as long as you're not trying to do what I'm trying to do, I think it's probably really good. So yeah, markerless motion capture for MetaHumans. Big thumbs up from me. Thank you, Epic. That's really cool feature, and I'm going to be making the most of it. Thanks for watching, everyone, and I'll see you down the road.